Are you still talking about your stuff you left in the locker?
He doesn't know if it's in the locker.
Oh.
So.
I don't know where it is.
Did you ever go to the office and ask?
About my laptop?
Well, I need to, did you find your laptop? No.
Say,
Not yet.
and I don't know where our laptop is.
Is that where your math notebook is in
No,
your backpack?
no, I had my math notebook yesterday.
And you lost it again? You lost it
All of
today?
them were no.
And
Yes.
you're giving a description.
Yes.
Red with
But they-
weird stains.
Yeah.
Isn't it
It's 5 subjects. Exhausting.
Do you know what the stains are? Just tell them. There's like a bin.
No, I don't know what's in the locker room.
Yes,
It
it
would have been
is.
yesterday. Did you go in my class locker room?
No.
Did you know it's there?
Math on the shoes and other stuff was in the locker
Talk
room.
about that, talk about my notebook.
They didn't go in the locker room.
But she's saying there is like a
Yeah,
lawsuit
there's a
found.
lawsuit found from figuring it out.
So when, I had it yesterday.
Oh. Well then.
He's got more problems than just the
Yeah.
locker room issue.
It's meant to be Mr. Epping's room, my room.
Mike, do you know what the stains are from?
No.
Write them down.
Sounds like a crime scene.
Are they grape juice?
All right, so how'd this go, guys? Were we okay? So confident.
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna, just for the people online, I'm gonna throw up the worksheet real quick.
They went good until the book.
What's that?
It went good until the book.
Fill the book. Does anyone have any specific questions from the book or? Anything we should go over? So we're testing tomorrow on this.
I just got my review here.
Testing tomorrow?
Yeah.
We're reviewing today, so we've really been kind of reviewing the last 3 days. So, any questions? All right, so I'll get you guys our review notes for today.
You need to know what it looks like. I put a pretty good description.
What?
It was baseball.
I feel like there was a bigger hole.
Everyone's like, no, you ain't going to tomorrow. And then Don was like, okay, we have to go back. He just went and everyone that.
Who?
Serious?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I said. I said, don't even go. I said, don't even come.
He was, he skipped half the infielding practice to go back, but then he never ended up batting. He just left.
Which one's good?
No, it's gonna be me torn.
Because all the people were favorite episode. One of the ones was,
Did you go to baseball?
I'll play this one.
Are you serious?
He's retired from baseball.
Good.
Oh, too good.
Last year, on the last game against,
Yeah, it's okay, that's fine.
where does Peyton's cousin?
Oh,
go?
Nicolay.
Nicolay last game? Nicolay? I did.
I was
Outstanding.
except the snores came, so you didn't play.
No, like the last one of the season.
So I heard that
I
one.
popped off, gotten like 3 bases,
They'll probably give us
talked to each one of them, and then I decided on retiring.
did you talk to the catcher?
Yeah, I did.
How much you get? Okay.
I was
Yeah,
like,
I talked to all
I had
three
2 strikes. I'm like,
next year.
Did did you guys ever hear that story about this nephew did to my nephew? So, my nephew is now a junior at Nicolay, so he's a sophomore at Nicolay, and Peyton's in fifth grade are playing with those guys.
You hit him in the knees with baseball bats.
No, he had Peyton going to pitch against his cousin. So like, he's pitching against this kid that's like 3 years older than him, and Peyton struck him out, like, and I was like, oh no. Like, it was horrible, like, it was, like, I felt like we were gonna have like a family feud over it, but my brother and my sister-in-law claimed it was okay, but I don't know, I felt like it was, to have your little 8th grade, like, it was not good. And like, the dugout was like going crazy the whole time, so that was like adding to it.
This is the last.
No, this might have been the first time.
No, because the did you play in varsity?
Well, yeah, it was JV, so it was,
Then it was the last time because
I don't know.
JV got rained out.
And then,
Oh yeah, so maybe, yeah, it was the second time, but yeah. So
and then senior year,
and my nephew's not great at baseball, but he's not terrible, I mean, he is, he likes
Wait,
it.
she played with you, Michael? Like, you guys were on the same team?
Yeah.
Just for like summer, just like, cause he had to be there anyway, so.
Yeah.
But it's not like he's an amazing pitcher either, like he's fine,
He's just, oh, okay.
I was
But
talking
then
to the captain.
so to strike out his cousin is kind of like crazy, right?
Yeah.
Alright. So, we'll go through what's gonna be on the test, which is tomorrow. But like I said, we've really been reviewing this whole week, basically every day this week. So our chart, the different formulas we talked about. Yesterday was kind of a review, kind of like all encompassing all the different properties. So in 8.1 it was the angle measures. So this is our 2 different formulas, or our 2 different rules here. So the interior angles are that formula, which we've written down how many times, and then exterior is always 360. So, like with the review here, this is kind of like sample test type questions. We have quite a few we'll go through here today. And hopefully that'll help you guys feel a little bit more ready. We can always answer questions before we start tomorrow, so that's all we're doing tomorrow, other than maybe just talking about the exam schedule a little bit. So in this shape here that kind of looks like some sort of strange barn, we have to figure out the number of sides, and that's always the same as the number of angles. So you can count the angles to know how many sides. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's a 7 sides, so n is 7. So we want to use this formula to find the sum of those angles, and then we're going to set all that algebra equal to that value. So you're going to do 180 times 7 minus 2. Is that like 9 something? 900, yeah. So we get 900 for the sum. So we just want to know the sum of the angle measures is 900. But we're trying to find the value of x. So we have to go through and add all these x's together and kind of combine the like terms. So basically adding all of these, so 5x and 5x is 10x. We have 30x. I'll put those ones together right now. We have 3 9s, so that's 27x. And then we have 1, 1, and negative 14, so that's negative 12. So I kind of did a little combining like terms already. So that's 912 equals 57x. heads up on this. On the test, something like this could be a decimal. Like, so don't get freaked out if you get a decimal as your answer. However, if we're talking about the number of sides for a shape, if you get a decimal for that answer, that's not what this is. But if you're looking for the number of sides and you get like 8.2, I hope you'd be like, that doesn't make sense. You can't have a side or a triangle that, or a shape that has 9.2 sides or whatever it happens to be. So just a heads up on that, so you can have decimals in the right situations. All right, so this next one is now talking about exterior angles. And this one I don't even have to add up the number of sides, because I know the exterior angles should always add to what? 360. So I can kind of skip over that first formula and just know this equals 360. So again, I can kind of combine my like terms. I have 8, 6, and 6. So that's going to be 20x. And 20 and 160. So is 180. And so then I divide by 20. Hi, sit here. Look at your kid today. You just woke up. I feel like it's kind of a congested little area for some reason. It's not. Okay, yeah, I'll look. All right, so guys, we talked about these next two last class. So see if you guys can figure out 3 and 4. Last class we did a little bit of review with that. So let me give you guys a second to try these. So 3 and 4. So it's asking for the number of sides depending on what information they give you. So I'll give you guys a minute. I'm gonna finish the board here for a second. So try 3 and 4. Hi. Are we talking about the same thing?
Oh, yeah. No, that's not, there's another wall there.
These guys are other than that.
I'm saying it's gonna have it too long. Do not. No.
These guys
Yeah.
Right, so I was picturing them in a clothes, so I pictured them like here or something. Where they like all
There's some water things where they just
These guys, they're really, I mean, you know. Yeah. No, I know, whatever. I had like a little scare during break where I wasn't feeling great, and so I went and got tested, and I called my friend who had seen, and she's like, I never thought you had it. She's like, you probably already had it like months ago, so like, she's like, whatever, so like it was okay, but, and I was negative, but I got tested over break, because I just, like, I woke up with like a crazy headache, and I was congested. It kind of felt like a sinus infection, but I was like, I can't even go to the doctor if I'm positive. You know, like they don't even want you in the doctor's office. So I got tested and it came back fine. But so we hunker down for a day, because the test from school comes back fast. It was less than 24 hours that.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah, and they just do the nose thing. They don't like poke the back of your brain. So
Oh.
it was nice. it was more pleasant. What? It just like, it felt like they put a Q-tip up, like just inside your immediate nose. Where the other one, it feels like they literally get to the back of your like skull and like tickle your head for like 5 minutes. Like, it's the worst.
Whoa.
COVID test. So there's this rapid test now that just like kind of goes, it's annoying, like, 'cause they're like in your nose, but it's not bad.
I got nervous when he kept saying, sit back, no more. I'm like, how much more can I do?
Well, because that was like the reason I know what it is because when I had influenza a few years ago, it's the same test. And she's like, put your head against the wall. And I was like, wait, why? Like, I was like, because they go so far back that they're afraid to like fling your head back. It's unreal. It's so bad. I think I can still feel it. It was like 3 years ago.
Just.
So,
That's disgusting.
it's so bad.
I feel like he looked at that test.
Yeah.
All right, so how'd this go? So they give us the sum of the interior angles of convex polygons, are 6,480. How many sides does it have? What did you guys do to figure this out? We did this yesterday, so hopefully this went okay. I think I see a lot of either close or right answers. You're all in the ballpark. It's just whether or not you remember to do the right thing at the end. Yeah, go ahead.
You take 6,480 and divide by 180.
Yep. And so the reason we divide by 180 is because that's what we would have multiplied by to figure this out this equation. So you divide by the 180, and again, if you don't set it up as an equation like this, I'm perfectly fine. So like, I know that he like is able to do it without having to write the equation specifically out. So we get 36. This is where I lost a few of you guys. So I think you guys are all within like 2. Because it's whether or not you remember to add or subtract at this point. And the formula kind of helps you to remember, since n minus 2 equals 36, in order to figure out the value, you have to add 2. I saw a few of you guys subtracted, and so you're really super close, it's just that one step. So the number of sides would be 38. And understand, on a test, if you guys show me some work, and you wrote 30, or you wrote 34, like, if you showed me you got to 36 and then you mistakenly added 2 or subtracted 2 or whatever, that's kind of why showing your work is important. So I can kind of figure out what you did wrong. This next one's a little bit different than the ones we practiced yesterday. This one tells us that one angle is 5 degrees of an exterior angle. How many sides does the polygon have? So we know the one measure is 5 degrees. What'd you guys do? It's, yeah, so we know they should all add up to 360, and one of them is 5. So to find the number of sides, that's going to give us that value based off dividing by 5. So that's going to be 72. What would the interior angle be? Do you guys remember how to figure that out? If one of them's 5. So yeah, remember that if one exterior angle is 5 degrees, one interior angle, they would be supplementary. So an interior angle would be 175, because they should add the 180 together. So kind of being comfortable working between those two, I didn't ask that, but just kind of being comfortable with kind of switching between those those ideas. Okay, so that was section 1. And then after that, we got into all the different specific shapes. And so this is where all our different properties come in, that we have to know all the different things about a parallelogram or different shapes. Now, understand that I'm not just going to ask you to regurgitate all those facts, but they're going to show up in things like this, where they're going to give you problems and they're going to expect that you know like how to find different measures based off the facts you know. So I put these two together. This is 8.2 and 8.3 because I actually don't think we actually did 8.3 separately, because both sections were just parallelograms. studying that yellow chart would be helpful. Maybe even drawing pictures of shapes and marking things. So like if you draw a parallelogram, mark all the stuff you know about it. We did that a lot in our notes, being comfortable with those different rules of parallelograms. So see what you guys can find on here. There's 8 things they're asking us for. So see if you guys, what you can find, and we'll kind of talk about it here. So out of these 8, see what you guys can figure out. And sometimes it's a matter of just labeling stuff on this drawing and then seeing what you actually know. So it might be helpful there. Maybe you'll drop our bag off on your like in the front porch or something. That's looking at.
There's cookies. They're cookies, Jamie.
Yeah, they use like a full gym. Yeah. Oh, I always tell my AR that, you guys just not be close to each other, like, can you have one time where you don't have to be like right on top? Because I only have like 8 kids in here too, you know, like, just stay away from each other. Okay. Yeah, whatever. What's that? For what? What do you mean? Something with test the review the exam. I have the test printed.
That would be.
Yeah, I may have to grab it from the printer, but I like sent it to the printer. And then I probably could print the review exam. We'll figure it out.
That'd be amazing.
Yes.
Put more pressure on.
No, you're fine. How are you doing, anyways? See a little smattering of some of yours. I don't know if anyone tries that. If you guys want help, or are we still working here? So first of all, just notice in the drawing, I don't know if this helps, I hope you notice this. They're telling us this is a parallelogram, so I hope you understand that they've at least given us that information. So we can assume it's a parallelogram, so that, if that helps, I'm hoping you realize that. Sorry if I didn't keep that clear. One more time, you guys ready? Preference one way or the other. All right, someone tell me something they know. What have you guys found? Something you know that you're confident about.
Oh,
Yeah, Michael?
HI is 16.
HI is 16, very good. So, this is 16, and we know this is a parallelogram, so this is also 16 there. So HI is 16. Somebody else, help us out. What else do you guys know?
GH is 8.
So GH is 8. So the fact that we know, yep, that GJ is 8, this also has to be 8 because the fact that the diagonals bisect each other in a parallelogram. So that's good. Hopefully then you know HJ, right? That's all the way across. So that's going to be 16, right?
15. Wait.
It's 8 and 8, right?
Yeah. No.
I think it's 16. Yeah, Luke, what do you got?
My bad.
KIH equals 28 degrees.
KIH. So this one, you said is 28. Very good. So this is those alternate interior angles that zigzag. that shows up because this is a parallelogram. So that was this one. Wait, which one did you? Oh, up there. Yeah. KIH, yes, thank you. So that's 28 degrees. You guys are missing it. Yeah, go ahead.
KH is 10.
Yeah, I was going to say, that one should be hopefully obvious, 10. Over here, again, parallelogram, those opposite sides are equal. Sometimes I know the angles are tough. Anyone have another one?
KJI is 84.
KJI. Oh, it's across, yep. So this and this are the same. Opposite angles are equal, so 84. Then they're asking us about this. How can I figure that out?
Subtract 180. Wait, 84 from 180.
Yeah, so we know that these two together should equal 180. So if I took 84 away, it's going to give me that value of that angle, which should be, is that 96? And then HKI. Oh, and then it wants this one. Now, since this is a parallelogram, that doesn't mean that these two are equal. Those aren't bisected in a parallelogram. That happens in a rhombus, but not a parallelogram. So we know this one's 28, just like this one was 28. We found out this whole angle was 96. So if that little part's 28 and that part's 96, the leftover is going to be HKI.
68.
68, thank you. So being able to kind of work your way around these different shapes and make sure you find all that information. And so sometimes maybe even just labeling things right on the drawing and then seeing what they're asking you about is a good idea. So, a similar question on the test. Let's do one more before we take a quick break. I'll just do a quick one today here. Still the back side. So the next section was rhombuses, rectangles, and squares. Those all were in one section. So they tell us this is a rhombus, and they give us some information, and they want us to find kind of this other stuff here. So again, I'll give you guys a little bit of time to try it. What's that? Sure. Only thing I was going to keep on blue. So I had it coming out of the second tray. You go to the big copier and you do in the second tray. Does that make sense? Sorry. High maintenance here. I know, it helps me to find it. Yeah, I know. No, I totally, it's my whole, like, yeah. All right. Ooh, and I'm going to warn you guys, this is a tough one. So this might involve, and I'm not putting any of this on the test, just so you guys know, not as like a normal test question. I think there's some trig involved in this one. Dun, 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 trig. Kind of a good review going into the exam. So, so they want, did you find anything, what do you know? Anything?
QPR is 30. QPR, oh yep, 30. Because remember, in a rhombus, those are bisected. So that's 30 as well.
and then QTP. What do you know about QTP? That's really important about a rhombus.
90 degrees.
90 degrees. So these are all 90 there on that corner. So, like I said, I believe we actually do need trig in this case. And I'll tell you guys, there may be maybe, I don't typically do this, but there may be a bonus question on the test. We may actually do the trig. So just know that there won't be a regular question on trig on the test, but maybe it'd be like bonus points or just a little extra. And you can always skip that, that's optional. So they want us to find RP, and RP we can find, right? That's 12, yeah. I think QT is the one that we have to, yeah. So QT, you might think that has to be 6 as well, it's not. So rhombus doesn't, they're bisected, but they're not equal. So QT is this little value here. So I'm going to draw kind of the triangle I know. Well, actually, let me draw the one down there. So I'm looking for this. I know this is 6. I know this is 30. Oh, actually, it's a little bit of special right triangles if you wanted. So you could do it a number of ways. So we're trying to find QT. Like I said, this will not be a regular test question, bonus of anything. So, and this is probably a good review coming into exams because we have this coming up. This is my opposite. This is my adjacent. Or this is a 30, 60, 90, and you could use special right triangles as well. So we can talk about that in a second. So opposite over adjacent is which trig function, you remember? Tangent. So multiply each side by 6, and that'll give you your x value. Or this would be the middle length side, and you could go backwards and divide that by the square root of 3, which ends up being like 2 square roots of 3, I think. Yeah, 2 square roots of 3, or whatever that is. So that was so long ago. But it'll show up in our exam. So this part, like for this week's test, don't stress about it if you're like, oh my gosh, I don't remember trig at all. We'll review that next week, but at the same time, if you're like, oh yeah, I like trig, that was good, then it should be okay. All right, we need a little break from taking notes. Let's flip the page over, but we'll take a quick break. Here we go.
Dictionary.
Dictionary quick round of dictionary.